What's going on, everybody? This is Joe.
And Amy.
And we are back with some more MTG Arena play. In fact, this is the first time pre-recorded that we will be playing MTG Arena since Ravnica Allegiance. Hence, this little advertisement of Ravnica Allegiance is now available. Orzhov, Gruul, Simic, Azorius, and Rakdos join the fray. Which of the guilds will you align with? So, even though we did this during our stream, why don't we watch this?
We are at the threshold of a new age.
Did you think death would free you from your obligation?
When the system fails, we will balance the scales. This is Gruul territory now!
Get ready for the freak show!
What is there to fear? This is what we've been preparing for! The end race is upon us!
Your skull will make a fine trophy.
So there you have it. I actually really like that they do that they give you the little trailers in the beginning. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
We do have
And I feel like I do hear Allison's voice now.
Yeah, I'd agree. So first things first, there's a code for Allegiance, for Ravnica Allegiance, that is Play Allegiance. So if you guys have not had a chance to use that code yet, you should, because code redeemed successfully, and they've actually given you, like, they show you what you've redeemed, whereas in the past it was just like, yep, you got it, next, and then they just move on to the next thing. So there you go, we got 3 packs. You know what that means, though, don't you? It's time to open some cards. We have 3 Guilds of Ravnica packs, 3 Ravnica Allegiance packs, and of course that 2019 pack. So let's do it from oldest to newest and open these puppies up. We'll take a sec. Ooh, okay, this pack seems very one-sided. I feel like
A little bit.
so we have a Sky Scanner, 3 generic for a 1/1 flyer. When it enters, draw a card.
Wasn't that Gideon on the front of it too? Or no?
No, that was Sarkian? Anyway, here's Manalith, 3 mana for an artifact, tap to add 1 mana of any color. Invoke the Divine, 2 and a white for an instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment, you gain 4 life. Daybreak Chaplain, 1 and a white for a 1/3 lifelink. And Gallant Cavalry, 3 and a white for a 2/2 Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance, and since some cards around here care about that, this is also a knight. We have a Johnny's Welcome. For 1 white, it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. This card is used in a pretty popular, like, life gain, a Johnny's Pridemate-esque deck. And we have an uncommon wild card, which says, if we haven't talked about this in a while, redeem this wild card for any uncommon card by adding the desired card to your deck. And our rare or mythic is... Holy crap! He said something and we missed it, but that is totally fine. We got a Johnny. This pack was very white aligned, apparently. But yeah, we have a Johnny, Adversary of Tyrants, 2 white for a 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker. You can +1 him to put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. -2 to return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Or -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, create 3 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink, which is fantastic.
Really nice.
Really cool. So I'm super glad we got that mythic. That's great. Let's move on to Guilds of Ravnica. We have, in our first Guilds pack, Spinal Centipede. We also got an uncommon wild card, if you didn't see that. We have a Spinal Centipede. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and it's 2 and a black for a 3/2. Prey Upon is 1 green. Sorcery, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Great card. Devkarin Dissident, 1 and a green for a 2/2. Tap 4 and a green. Devkarin Dissident gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Find mana sink towards the end of a game. Notion Rain. It's 1 blue-black for a sorcery. Surveil 2, then draw 2. Notion Rain deals 2 damage to you. Fine card, good with Surveil. Wall of Mist, 1 and a blue for an 05 Defender Wall. Affectionate Indrik, this card is adorable. 5 and a green for a 4/4 Beast. When it enters the battlefield, you may have it fight target creature you don't control because he's just so cute. This is an example of like when a dog is really excited to see you, but it's a big dog, and it runs up to you and like knocks you over because it's not aware of how small and that it's not small and cute anymore. So yeah, that's what this Indrik is doing. It's just being affectionate, but it's ruining this poor man's day. And a Grappling Sundew, 1 and a green for an 04 Defender Reach. 4 and a green, Grappling Sundew gains Indestructible until end of turn. And our rare or mythic is... Ooh, very, very nice. So one of probably the most expensive cards in Guilds of Ravnica. Assassin's Trophy, green and black for an instant. Destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Very good card.
Yes.
We have 2 more Guilds packs. We're just going to open cards today, apparently. We actually are going to do other things, I promise. So we got a common wild card, so it's the same as the uncommon wild card we looked at earlier, but it only works for commons. Clearly. Here's another Dev Karen Dissident. We saw that just a second ago. Rubble Belt Boar, 3 and a red for a 3/3 Boar. When it enters the battlefield, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. For Naughty Shieldmate, 1 and Selesnya Hybrid for a 2/2 Vigilance. Or Dead Weight, 1 black for an enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. So you put this on your opponent's creature, shrink it down, make it smaller, and or kill it. Ooh, Hazda Marshal, 1 white for a 1/1. Yes, very good. Uncommon, whenever Hazda Marshal and at least 2 other creatures attack, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Not a bad card at all. And Street Riot, 4 and a red for an enchantment. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample. This card's not as good, but it is good if in like a particular kind of deck. If you're in that deck, you want this card. And our rare or mythic in this one is... Ooh, Response Resurgence. So we see Tajik and Aurelia here, vying for control of the Boros. But Response, for 2 Boros hybrid mana, instant, Response deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, very good. And Resurgence, 3 red-white, for a sorcery, creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn, and after this main phase there is an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. That's
interesting.
Very cool. So, I like that quite a bit. Alright, 1 more Guilds pack, then we'll move on to our Ravnica Allegiance packs, which will go nicely into actually drafting some Ravnica Allegiance. So we have Take Heart. Instant for 1 white, target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature you control. Pass Wall Adept, 1 and a blue for a human wizard creature, 1/3. 2 and a blue, target creature can't be blocked this turn. You can get in some big points of damage with that. Goblin Locksmith, 1 and a red for a 2/1. When it attacks, creatures with Defender can't block this turn. Urban Utopia, 1 and a green for an enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. An enchanted land has tap, add 1 mana of any color. Walker in the Mist I like quite a bit. 3 blue for a 3/4 Flying Spirit. When Watcher in the Mist enters the battlefield, Surveil 2. Pilfering Imp is our first uncommon. 1 black mana for a 1/1 Flying Imp. 1 and a black, tap it, sacrifice Pilfering Imp. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast an instant. Not terrible, but I don't love it. You want this thing to be around for too long to be like attacking in and stuff, and by that point they probably don't have much left in their hand for you to steal. And a Rampaging Monument. 4 mana for a 0/0 trample artifact creature cleric. When Rampaging Monument enters the battlefield, or it enters the battlefield, with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you get another counter on it. Our rare is the Guild Mage's Forum. It's a rare land, tap to add a colorless, tap 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color. If that mana is spent on a multicolored creature spell, that creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. I don't really like this one either, but there you go. On to Ravnica Allegiance, the newest set, and let's see what we get. Ooh, we got a rare wild card. Ooh, and now we're working towards mythic. Very nice.
I like the Blood Mist one.
Yes, the Blood Mist Infiltrator, our first uncommon, 2 and a black for a 3/1 vampire. Whenever it attacks, you can sacrifice another creature, and if you do, this guy can't be blocked this turn. Very cool. Art's awesome. Love the flavor.
I think I like all these cards.
Yeah. Imperious Oligarch is a very nice low drop for Orzhov. It's white-black for a 2/1 Vigilant Human Cleric with Afterlife 1. So when this creature dies, you get a 1/1 black and white spirit creature token with flying. Sauriform Hybrid is a sweet Simic card, but it's also just mono green, so it could go in any green deck. It's 1 and a green for a 2/2, and you can tap 4 green to adapt 4, which would make it a 6/6.
Yeah, we have used this card many times in Gruul decks.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic in any green deck whatsoever. I love it. Watchful Giant, I'm not a big fan of, but that's fine. It is 5 and a white for a 3/6 Giant Soldier, and when it enters the battlefield, you make a 1/1 white human creature token. It's just not that impressive to me, personally.
He is quite a giant, though.
He is quite large, yes. What?
Hamburglar.
It's the Hamburglar, yes. So it's the Undercity Scavenger, 3 and a black for a 3/3 Ogre Warrior. But when Undercity Scavenger enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Undercity Scavenger, then scry 2. And Justicier's Portal, 1 and a white for an instant. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it gains first strike until end of turn. This, I feel like there are too many corner cases for this card. I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
Consecrate Consume is our other uncommon split card. Consecrate, 1 and a white-black hybrid for an instant. Exile target card from a graveyard, draw a card. And Consume, 2 white-black for a sorcery. Target player sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. You gain life equal to its power. I like that card, that half of the card, quite a bit. Consume is great.
Okay.
And our rare or mythic is... Okay.
Wow.
So...
All right.
Didn't say fair.
Thank you, Kaya. So the cool thing is... I was going to comment on the fact that, again, this pack seems very one-sided color-wise. Mm-hmm. Orzhov, black card. Orzhov, white card, black card, white card. Only non-Orzhov card in the whole pack. But here's Kaya. 1 white-black for a 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1, exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. You gain 2 life if at least 1 creature card was exiled this way. -1, exile target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less. And -5, Kaya Orzhov Usurper deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life. I didn't think this card was amazing for limited. I did have somebody use it against me to pretty good effect. So, yeah, I still probably don't take it back. Like, I still probably wouldn't put it in a limited deck, but it's not terrible.
I like that we have it.
Yes, agreed. It's nice for our collection. Next. Kaya was on the front of the pack as well. See, this is a much more blue and green pack.
Yes.
Okay.
White.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like it's on purpose. Here is a Skitter Eel, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 fish crab. And you can tap 2 and a blue and adapt 2. Then you have Root Snare, 1 and a green for an instant, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. Don't play this card. Lawmage's Binding, play this card though. 1 white-blue for a flash enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. It is a great arrest card. We already talked about Sauriform Hybrid. Here is a Shimmer of Possibility. 1 and a blue for a sorcery. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Not a huge fan of this card, but I've seen it do work for some. Our first uncommon is Enraged Ceratok, 2 green for a 4/4. Enraged Ceratok can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And Wall of Lost Thoughts, 1 and a blue for an 0/4 Defender Wall. When Wall of Lost Thoughts enters, target player puts the top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard.
Whoa.
So if you're on the mill strategy, this card is not bad. And we get Plaza of Harmony. It is a rare land. When it enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more gates, you gain 3 life. You can tap to add a colorless, and you can tap to add 1 mana of any type that a gate you control could produce. And our last pack, we are almost done. We get an uncommon wild card. That's nice. Open the gates. 1 green for a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land or gate card. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Not bad way to fix your mana. Storm Strike. 1 red for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+0 and first strike until end of turn. And you scry 1. Growth Spiral. Gorgeous art on Growth Spiral. Let's point that out first. Green, blue for an instant. Draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Prowling Caracal. 1 and a white for a 3/1 generic creature, vanilla creature. We already talked about Skitter Eel. And a Tin Street Dodger, 1 red for a 1/1 haste. 1 red mana, Tin Street Dodger can't be blocked except by creatures with Defender. And finally, our last rare or mythic before we get into it is Incubation Druid. 1 and a green for an Elf Druid 0/2. Tap it to add 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. If Incubation Druid has a +1/+1 counter on it, add 3 mana of that type instead. And for 3 green, you can adapt 3 and make this thing a 3/5.
I feel like this is the second time that we've seen this. Because I think the first time, Ashlyn played it against us.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember. That was a long stream. But it's definitely... I know somebody did, because I remember this thing, me wanting to kill this thing as quickly as possible every time we saw it. So, yeah. I like this card. It's not bad. But speaking of cards that we like and cards that we don't like, let's go here. And let's go here.